Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Please sing along with me and gesture at your screen. It brings me a lot of good luck. And obviously hit the dislike button on this video as well. Let's do it again. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. We're coming up to the 2 year anniversary of when I started making bismuth art. I actually began in late August of 2022, as you guys remember. I made a lot of videos when I first started. Um, Anyways, so getting ready to celebrate the 2 year anniversary. Now, I want you guys to continue to pray for me. And the reason for that is that I feel a lot of control with my career when I'm working with bismuth, right? I talked about yesterday how I had a few upsets at the workplace, not necessarily because the boss was malicious, but simply put, bosses have a mind of their own, and sometimes it forces you to have to have minor conflicts. Let me give you an example. I was working at a tutoring center. We had kids who were learning SAT prep and all that. And one day, I had gotten to the office a little bit early because the night before I had gone somewhere else. And I had already spent most of the day in the car. I got to the office at 1:40, if I remember correctly, and I had students from 2 o'clock until late evening, 7, 8, 9 p.m. I can't remember the exact details. So I get to the office and I put my computer high up somewhere where I could stand and check my email and all that. I wanted to stand because I'd been sitting in my car for 4 hours at that point. I got tutoring for another 8 hours after that. That was my only chance to stretch. My boss comes in and says, "Hey, can I talk to you about something?" It wasn't even anything serious. I think he wanted to talk to me about some ideas for one of the students that I was going to get, right? Which is fine. But he said I could have a seat. I ignored him, thinking that he would understand why I'm standing because I got a 6, 7, 8 hour shift, right? He knows that part. He might not have known that I had spent the day driving, but he certainly knows that I have a 6, 7, 8 hour shift coming up, right? So I ignored him. I said, "What about the student? Let's see what we could do." He said, "Oh, have a seat, please." And I sat down, but I was very upset at him. Now, I know he's not being malicious, right? Had I even told him that, I want to get some stretching, I think he would have been fine with that. The problem is that it forces me to do that, right? And nobody's being malicious or wrong or right here. It's just that having two minds, having to coordinate. I don't have to run into that when I'm working with my art, right? If I'm on the road and I want to do my art standing up, nobody's gonna stop me, right? I don't have to deal with that. Even at the art shows, right? Sometimes in between customers, I'll lift weights, right? My art's kind of heavy. I can kind of just use it for exercise. Nobody's gonna stop me from doing that, right? And it's just I don't like to have to mention every little quirk, right? Not to mention at the office, people like to offer you food. Now you have to expose that I can't really eat any of this stuff, right? And you can only say no so many times before somebody really probes, right? And I never have to do that. When I'm working with my art, I never have to explain to anybody what I'm eating, when I'm eating, why I'm eating what I'm eating, what time I decide to go to sleep, right? I never have to explain to anybody any of that stuff, right? Now, earlier today, I had an upset. I almost got into a fight with somebody at the apartment. What had happened was my 50-pound box of bismuth had come, and I went downstairs to the mailroom to get it. And as I was bringing it to my apartment, I thought to myself, this is great. I'm in the middle of an intermittent fast. I want to get some exercise. I had the door's kind of in a weird way to how to open it with the 50-pound bar. This is great, except one of the idiot neighbors decides to hold the door for me. And I'm so upset. I told him, I actually need the exercise. Have a good day. I couldn't shoo him away from that door. And I almost wanted to take that 50-pound bar of bismuth and throw it at him. That's how upset I was. In my mind, that's what I was imagining. And when I'm working with my art by myself, I never have to explain to anybody any of that stuff, right? Now, last year I was teaching at Phoenix College and Grand Canyon University. And in an ideal world, I would have so much loved to go away during the Thanksgiving and Christmas times. Those were so lonely here in Phoenix. I would rather die than have to spend another Christmas in Phoenix again, which is why the art projects are so important to me at the moment, right? The freer I could be, the better. I was just reading a Facebook. One of my Facebook friends had posted on what days to take off for vacation in order to get the most bang for your buck, right? Connecting them with public holidays and all that. And I'm thinking to myself, gee, this is really unfair because all of my colleagues who have families, they get first dibs on those great days that connect to holidays. It's almost like I'm being shortchanged. Right? I'm only getting half as much vacation time as my colleagues, right? What we should do in an ideal world, we should get rid of these public holidays and people should take off when it makes sense for them to take off, right? So for example, we got the 4th of July, but that's kind of a wasted day for me. I mean, it's nice to have a day off, but none of my favorite restaurants are going to be open, right? And none of my favorite meetups are going to meet. That's kind of a waste, right? I'd rather take a day off that actually has some meaning to me, right? And I'd rather not have to have conflict right at the workplace. None of these people are malicious, right? Nobody thinks that they're hurting somebody by holding the door. Nobody thinks that they're hurting somebody by saying you can have a seat during a meeting, right? It's just unnecessary conflict for not much, right? Somebody holding the door is not going to help me win a Nobel Prize, right? In fact, it might hurt, right? Oh, it's just for a whole bunch of nothing. We have all this little conflict, which is why the whole return to the office mandate is such BS, right? Return to the office only guarantees we have more of these little conflicts that do nothing, right? So please pray for my art career by leaving a dislike and singing along with me. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.